And welcome back. This is me giving a review after 2,000 kilometers of my BMW 750 GS 40th anniversary edition. I did a video like this about 3 months ago after 500 kilometers, and I talked about some things in there which I'm now going to elaborate on this in this new upgraded video, if you like. So 2,000 kilometers later, my bike is currently fully loaded, waiting to go on a trip around Colombia, which is where I am at the moment. And I'm going away for a month with a friend, and I've got everything here in the back which I should need for a month. I spoke about before, I was waiting to go on to my 1,000-kilometer service, and there was a couple of things that I didn't like about this bike, and I was going to find out what could be done about it. Basically, I was unhappy with the position of the brake pedal and the foot peg. I was saying before that I like it a little bit flatter, so you know, the brake pedal raised up a little bit. I'm kind of used to it now, probably partly to the fact because you can't actually change it. There's no adjustment on this. The only way to do it is to actually put some form of riser here. There is a discussion in various posts about lowering this, but that don't make any sense to me whatsoever. You can buy a little riser for that, but they cost about $100 odd or more. And just doesn't seem right for me for a little piece of metal. I'm sure there's more to it than that, and the designers and manufacturers would disagree with me that entirely, but I've got used to it and it's no longer a massive problem. One thing I've accepted, although I'm still a little bit peeved about, is the remember me saying that there used to be an ABS deactivation button here. That's no longer the case. As I found out when I took it into its 1,000-kilometer service, they were very strict and about the fact that you can't turn off the ABS in the 2021 models of the 750 GS. So this bike is stuck with full ABS on both wheels all the time. They've replaced the ABS deactivation button now with the dynamic traction control button, which you can still toggle. So that was a little bit disappointing, just you know, to be told that this is not an off-road bike, although they do talk about it being off-road. And if you watch all the promotional videos from BMW, there's people splashing through streams and doing wheelies up hills and skidding around corners. You know, they should have a big sign there saying this doesn't apply to the 750. If you want to do this, think about the 850 or higher, because then you have one of the settings which is called Enduro Pro. The setting on the 750 is just called Enduro, and the setting on the 850 GS and higher is called Enduro Pro, which deactivates ABS, I believe, just in the back wheel, and that's the reason, which doesn't make much sense to me. I'd rather be off-road on one of these bikes than the 1250. Okay, that might prompt some discussion, but it's not meant to. Yeah, there you go. That's just my opinion. I don't want a big wide tank of a bike in this country where I live. I just feel the 1250 is too much of an excess for what I need it for. The 750 is absolutely fine for me to go all over this country in pretty much all terrains, and do so comfortably. There's lots of bikes that do that kind of thing that are around the 300cc mark and adequately get around, and probably do it slightly more comfortably if they're falling over in the sand all the time in some of the deserts. Anyway, that's that, and they're the 2 points there covered from what I spoke about in the first video. And what's different about this one, I suppose, is just that I've got the bags loaded this time. So anyone thinking of buying one or has one, and you know, just perhaps thinking about adding some additional things, this is the setup for me. I like the Mosko bags. I researched types of bags quite a lot and decided the soft ones were good for me. I've got 25 litres on both sides. I bought the extra side pockets. They're kind of optional, so I bought 4 for each one, and also these internal pockets, whatever you call them, there's a name for them, so 4 of those as well. But I think I'm only probably going to be using 1 on this trip. That's just got emergency rations in there if I'm stuck and need a couple of meals. So that's all that's for. I can't think of any other uses for what I might need that for, or any other places to put them. So there you go. I've got one of these bags and 3 spare, but you know, each to their own. And that's it. I've just got on this side of the bike, I've just got things I might need to get to during the ride in the day. So you know, this is then the curb side or the sidewalk side or the outer traffic side for me. So I've got toolkit in there, spare fuel canisters, fishing gear should the need arise. I've got my waterproofs here for easy access as well, so not very exciting, and everyone will have their own preferences. A couple of other gadgets here. I've got my disc brake thing there, and I've also got one of these, just undo it and show you because I quite like this. I got bombarded with the adverts for it for some reason on Facebook or Instagram, and it's a lock for here. I thought, okay, why not? It's a deterrent, and give me a little bit of peace of mind if I'm wandering off at a lunchtime and I've left it in a town square or something. You know, no one's going to easily roll it away. Let me put that down there. I'll put it away later. And then in the top bag, the yellow bag, that's basically all my camping gear. So I kind of figure if there are any times where we're going to be sleeping outdoors, in that, I'm not going to undo it, and probably people aren't interested to see it, but you know, I've got a tent. I've got basically 2 setups in the bag, 2 separate bags in there. One is a tent setup, everything I need for that, so the tent and the poles and all that sort of stuff. And I've also got a bag that contains everything I need for a hammock setup. So I've got a hammock and a tarp and little bits and bobs, and everything else that goes with camping, all little cooking things and stuff like that. So that's all in there. So that's how I've got that organised. And on this side of the bike, which is the traffic side, which I shouldn't need to get into during the day, during a ride, and only unhook it from the bike at the end, is clothing basically. That's it. I've got a little, I always tend to have a little flask, reachable on trips. I like to have sort of coffee on the go, but that's it. It's just got a few bags in there with my clothes, and that's it. It's got a map and a couple of books on Colombia, kind of guide maps, and that's what I'm gonna live off. I saw a great video somewhere, can't remember, about a guy talking about what to take on a camping trip for what period of time, and this guy said something that really resonated with me, and I thought that's so true. He said, I'll you know, regardless of the length of time I'm going for, whether it's 3 days or 3 months, I'll always pack for 3 days. And that kind of made sense. Obviously not food supplies and whatnot, but specific to clothing and camping gear, because he's not going to carry around a load of dirty washing. Just within a 3-day cycle, you get to kind of wash those clothes or reuse them a couple of times, because you're out on the road and who cares. And I thought that was very good. So with that philosophy, I've got everything loaded there that will last me a month, but at the same time, it's what I'd need at least for perhaps 3 or 4 days. And that's it. So hopefully this walk round is useful for anyone thinking of buying any of the GS models. Like I said, the 750, think about if you want to deactivate the ABS or not. If so, you've got to go 850 or above. The 850 is a little bit higher, so if you're around 5'9" or less, I would say, you know, the 750 is going to be fine. The 850, you're going to be on your tiptoes, but you can adjust, you can have a lower seat kind of package for that. And I did consider it when I was at the showroom, contemplating the 2. But as I touched on before, the big higher engine wasn't the motivation for me. I was happier with the lower side. I'm just interested in touring, doing a little bit of off-road, but there you go. It's not an off-road bike theoretically, but it will be off-road. Let me mention just something about the tyres quickly, talking about off-road. These tyres that are on at the moment, look at the grips, they're not designed for off-road at all. You get away with a little bit of kind of gravel road and stuff like that, but I think as soon as you're in a few inches of mud or sand, you're just not going to get the traction you need, because they're just not the right tires. So you would need to swap those out. I'm leaving them on anyway for what I need to do. I'm not going to be massively off-road anyway, so it should be okay. The theory it's going to be 90% normal road, 10% off, so that's probably good enough. I did talk about everything at the front in my last video, but I'll just finish off by zooming in on that for anyone that might want to ask me any questions. Quite obviously, I moved the stock mount from the center here. I bought a bracket, I think from AliExpress, which slots in the back. You can get them on Amazon as well. They're just a bit cheaper if you don't mind waiting a few more weeks. And the actual navigation mount just sits nicely there in the right place, which is above the TFT here. I put a cover on this as well. I've got a little Bluetooth speaker there. I don't use it when riding. It's just for connecting to music. Times like this, if I'm doing any work on the bike or when we're camping, it might be nice just to have quick access to some speakers without digging them out of a bag. They're just tucked there out the way for now. If I think of anything else more useful that I might need to put there for more regular use, then I will, but for now it just sort of fits nicely, so I've just put that there. And that's a little Bluetooth speaker set that I've had for a long time that's actually surprisingly very good sound quality for the size. You've got a USB port down here, you see where the yellow USB is going in, and all I've done is put a splitter here, so that leads out into two, which I've dangled over the back, and I just think it's useful to have more than one if I'm charging a couple of things on the fly at the same time. That's it. I've got a tank bag on the front, so yeah, it's a strap one. It's not magnetic. It doubles into a kind of shoulder bag, so if I'm going away, I'll just unclip 3 clips, bum bum bum, throw the strap over my shoulder, and I've got everything in there that you know, I need when I'm riding along, or if I'm out in the day having lunch or whatnot. You know, wallet, snacks, sunglasses, little rain mac, stuff like that. I've got hand grip for my GoPro. Anyway, stuff in there that you might just generally need quite quickly, multiple times in the day. And that's it. So I'll just do a final little walk around. Hopefully this video is helpful for anyone that's perhaps thinking of buying one, as I said before, or have one and just looking at ideas of how to pimp up their ride a little bit more. This is how I've done mine. I don't think I'm going to add any more to it. I've put a higher windshield on the front to protect the navigation, because once you put the bracket on, that comes up above the stock windshield, which is only very small. So I've replaced that protection on the front for the lights. I put a skid plate on the bottom. Obviously, I think everyone does that with these type of bikes. That's one of the first thing I did there, just to protect all that exhaust system underneath there. What else? Obviously the Mosko bags, I had to put the support brackets on there. They are Touratech pannier holders, and the bag slides off like that. That's how it is. So there's my bag. So there you go. That's my bike anyway. That's how I've got it set up. Suits me for what I need it for. Hopefully that's been interesting for anyone that's still watching at this point and they've got some useful ideas for themselves. If there's anything I've forgotten to speak about, or I've said something that you've not understood, by all means fire away with a question. I'm happy to help.